You know that feeling, right? You hear about a great public initiative, a new park, a better transit system, maybe a new digital service, and you get excited, but then, nothing. It just stalls, fades away, or never really delivers on its promise. It's super frustrating. We see the good intentions, but where are the results? Well, today we're going to dig into what makes all the difference.
So, what is it? What's the secret sauce that separates a project that truly transforms a community from one that just fizzles out? Here's a hint. It's not just about having a brilliant idea. It's about having a disciplined way to turn that idea into reality. It's all about structure, and the very first thing we need to wrap our heads around is a really important distinction.
In the world of government, you've got two different kinds of work. First, there's process. Think of it as the day-to-day, the stuff that happens over and over, like renewing driver's licenses. It's ongoing, it's repetitive. But a project, that's a whole different beast. A project is a one-time effort to create something totally new, like building that online licensing system in the first place. It has a definite start and a definite end.
So let's put a clear definition on it. A project is basically a mission with a deadline. It's designed to deliver one unique result, whether that's a bridge, a public health program, or new app. And here's the key part. It has to happen within real-world limits, like a set budget and a timeline. It's this temporary nature that demands a special kind of focus and management.
Okay, so how do you actually guide a project from just being a cool idea to something real? Well, you follow a path. And project management isn't some scary, complicated jargon. Think of it as a roadmap, a structured journey that every single successful project follows, and it's broken down into some pretty logical stages.
And that journey pretty much always unfolds in a 5-stage life cycle. It all kicks off with initiation. That's where the idea is born, and you figure out what you're actually doing. Then comes planning. And honestly, this is probably the most important stage. This is where you draw the map. Execution is next. That's when you roll up your sleeves and do the work. Of course, all along the way, you're monitoring, checking your progress to make sure you're on track. And finally, you get to closing, where you deliver the final result, and this is huge, you learn from the whole experience.
Look, without a solid plan, a project is like trying to go on a road trip with no map and no GPS. You're just going to get lost. So let's make this real. Let's talk about Marina. She's a public servant, and her team saw that some of the most vulnerable people in their community, Indigenous folks, Black communities, LGBTQIA+ people, were facing huge barriers to getting good health care. Their goal was massive: strengthen health equity. Let's see how they mapped it out.
So, to get everybody on the same page, Marina's team used a tool called a project canvas. It's basically a one-page cheat sheet that forces you to be super clear right from the beginning. You start with the justification. Why are we doing this? Then, the objectives. What exactly are we trying to achieve? And the deliverables. What are we actually going to create? See here, they're talking about specialized health units and new training. They even identify the key risks right up front, things like budget cuts or political pushback. And the benefits? This is the whole point. It's about reducing health disparities and literally improving people's lives. This one document gets the entire team pulling in the same direction from day one.
So a plan is absolutely essential. But let's be real, public projects are never a straight line. You're dealing with shifting politics, tight budgets, and really complex social problems. To navigate all that, successful teams need a well-stocked toolbox.
Yeah, the truth is public projects are messy. They don't happen in a neat little bubble. You're juggling the needs of citizens, politicians, different government departments, all while you're strapped for resources. This is exactly where specific practical tools become a project manager's absolute best friend. They help bring some order to all that chaos.
I guarantee every project manager has laid awake at night thinking about this exact question. What if our funding gets cut? What if a key partner pulls out? What if we were just wrong about our assumptions? You can't just wish uncertainty away, but you can, and you absolutely should, prepare for it. Let's take a look at Luciano's project, which was all about promoting ecotourism in conservation areas.
Luciano's team used what's called a risk matrix. It's such a simple but incredibly powerful way to tackle the problem. For every potential risk they could think of, they asked two questions. First, probability. How likely is this to happen? And second, impact. If it does happen, how bad will it be? So a risk like resistance from local communities, which has a medium probability but a high impact, that shoots right up to a high priority. This lets the team focus their energy on the threats that could actually sink the project, instead of just worrying about everything all at once.
Oh man, here's another classic project killer: confusion. You've heard it before, right? Wait, I thought you were doing that. Who's supposed to approve this?
That kind of ambiguity just grinds everything to a halt. So let's turn to Ariel's team. They were working on digitizing public services, a project where being clear was absolutely non-negotiable.
To kill that confusion, Ariel's team used a RACI matrix. It's a simple chart that makes everything clear as day. For every task, it assigns a specific role. R is for responsible. That's the person actually doing the work. A is for accountable. That's the person who owns the task. The buck stops with them. C is for consulted, people you need to get input from. And I is for informed, people you just need to keep in the loop. So for defined user needs, the tech lead is responsible for doing the work, but Ariel, as the manager, is the one who is ultimately accountable. See? Crystal clear. No more guessing games.
So we've talked about stages and plans and tools, but why does any of this really matter? Because the end goal, the ultimate destination for any public project isn't just about finishing on time and on budget. The whole point is to create real, tangible, lasting public value.
And that brings us to what might be the most important takeaway of all. This isn't about creating more bureaucracy for the sake of it. It's about effectiveness. As one expert perfectly put it, good project management is a direct ally of public management to transform intentions into concrete results. It's the engine that does the work. And when it works, the payoffs are huge. When projects are managed well, taxpayer money is used way more effectively. You get more transparency, so it's clear who is responsible for what. It actually forces departments to collaborate and break down those frustrating silos. But here's the big one. It delivers lasting social impact, which builds public trust, and it makes the government itself stronger and better prepared to tackle the next big challenge.
So if you remember one thing, let it be this. Project management is the bridge. It's the bridge that connects a policy written on a piece of paper to a tangible improvement in a real person's life. It's the how that turns a noble idea into a new health clinic, a cleaner park, or a government service you can finally use on your phone.
And that really brings us to the final question. A question for you. Whether you work in the public sector, or you're an engaged citizen, or you just want to see things work better, these principles apply. A great idea is just the starting line. The real work and the real impact happens on the journey. So what public problem will your next project solve?